Welcome to the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. This is where we embrace how good you are, girl. Stop being the best kept secret in town. Learn how to use simple LinkedIn and social media strategies and make the big bucks.
Hey, everyone. I'm Karen Yankovich, and this is the Good Girls Get Rich podcast, episode 88 recap video. And it is an interesting one for sure. I just want to keep an eye on the time here because I want to make sure that I know where I'm coming in with this because it may go a little long. Hey, Jennifer. So here's the deal. This week on the Good Girls Get Rich podcast, I did an episode that was inspired by a quote that I heard at a conference that I went to a couple weeks ago. And it really, to me, really summed up a lot of the work that I do. And the quote was, I should have tagged Jeff Walker in this too, by Jeff Walker. And it was Stu McLaren's Tribe Live event. And it was our jobs as marketers and as coaches and consultants and creatives is to think bigger for our clients than sometimes they think for themselves. And I loved that quote. To me, that really summed up a lot of the work that I do around LinkedIn and how to really inspire my clients to kind of just step into a bigger world, to step into the role that I know they were born to have on this planet and in their business. So I did a whole podcast around it, and it was a little bit, if you guys have listened to, those of you that have listened to my podcast before, it's KarenYankovich.com/088. It isn't quite a rant like some of the other ones were, but it definitely is one that I'm very passionate about. So it was energetic. I'll use the word energetic instead of rant. So I was, to go a little off the rails here for a second, I almost didn't come on and do this recap today because it's been a little bit of an emotional roller coaster in my personal life this week. I have a family member, my uncle, my godfather, who has been very ill, and he's had heart disease for many years. And the past week or two, he's been in and out of the hospital, and the past week it's been grave. Very, very grave. And yesterday, I got a call in the morning from my sister and said, it's really looking not good. And yesterday was also Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure Outable book launch, which I had bought a VIP ticket to. Stay tuned because I'm going to tie all this together. So I had bought a VIP ticket at several $100s, right? Multiple hundreds of dollars to go to this event. But when I got this call from my sister, I thought I need to be with my family. And, one of the reasons that is, by the way, me stepping into my power, because one of the reasons that I left the corporate world and created a business the way that it exists right now is so that I have control over those things. My family, my kids, my granddaughters, my parents, my family, they are number one in my life. So when something comes up, like it's time for you to be with your family, it is a no-brainer for me to say, okay, I'm going to be there. So now I've got this ticket, this VIP ticket to the Marie Forleo event last night. And I knew that I wasn't going to go because I said, I'm not going. My place is with my family. It's where I need to be. It's where I want to be. And without a hesitation, I reached out to my friend Deirdre, who I knew had bought a ticket to the event, but not the VIP level. And Deirdre is extraordinarily generous in her life. She's been extraordinarily generous to me. She's extraordinarily generous to many other people in her life. And I reached out to her and said, I'm going to transfer my ticket into your name. I need to just get this decision off the table. I want to just get it out of my name so that, I know that I can make the decision to be with my family and not have any reasons. Because it's, going into New York City, it's multiple hours. And I was sad to miss it, but there was no question in my mind. So, Deirdre, of course, was, I'm in, right? She was happy to have the VIP ticket. And again, I bought this ticket because I know that in my life, that is the life I want to live. I work really hard. And I know that if I want to play in the big leagues with my business and really create a business that supports me abundantly, I have to live that life as well, right? And I didn't want to be sitting in the top row. I wanted to be sitting right up front. I wanted an opportunity to spend a minute with Marie, get my picture taken with her, all that good stuff that the baller ticket that I bought consisted of. All of the things, by the way, coincidentally, I talk about on my podcast. I still hadn't made that connection. So, sadly, it was the right decision to be with my family, hence the emotional roller coaster here. Why I almost didn't do this, because my uncle did pass last night. And, of course, this morning I woke up to tons and tons of messages on social media about, condolences to my family, but also tons and tons and tons of messages about the Marie Forleo event last night. Because lots of people, I was going to meet up with people. I couldn't meet up with them, obviously, because I didn't go. Again, totally 100% made the right decision. I hope that Marie at some point puts the event on something that I could watch, some kind of video, but 100% no question. So Deirdre sees the messages on social media, and she texts me this morning about, condolences, and I thanked her and said, tell me about the event. I want to hear all about it. So she calls me. She's like, I'm not really sure I want to tell you this. I said, of course you have to tell me this, right? I want to hear about this event. So she's telling me about how amazing it was, and she's describing the dancers and Marie and how amazing Marie was and how much preparation went into this and how great my seats were, right, that she was grateful to have. And then she starts telling me about the people around her, and she's like, so to the left of me, well, to the right of me, or to the left of me, whatever. There was a woman there, and I spoke to her, and she was friendly, but not all that friendly. And I had a single ticket, okay, because I went with a bunch of different people, but none of us ended up sitting together by design, because I like to meet different people at business events like that. So she's like, I didn't really know. She really wasn't all that interested in chatting with me. It seemed she was on her phone a lot. So then this guy comes in, and this woman, and they sit on the other side of me. And she like hesitates for a second, and she's like, I'm not sure if I should tell you this. I go, why? And she goes, well, it was Mike Michalowicz. I go, are you kidding me? She's like, no. I go, you're telling me that the ticket I gave you for you to sit in was sitting next to Mike Michalowicz's seat. And she says, that's what I'm telling you. And of course I joked. I'm like, no, you definitely shouldn't have told me that, right? Because I am a huge Mike Michalowicz fan. I have read every single one of his books. I, in fact, was supposed to meet him once before. I live in New Jersey. He lives in New Jersey. And there was a some mid-Jersey, Jersey Shore Chamber of Commerce or something event that he was going to speak at. And it was last winter, and there was a blizzard. So the event was rescheduled, and when it was rescheduled for, I couldn't make it. So I had already spent $100 to meet Mike Michalowicz that I didn't get a chance to meet him. Oh, sorry. Alexa, turn off. So now I am on round 2 of having an opportunity to meet Mike Michalowicz, and I don't get to meet him. So then Deirdre says to me, and you're never going to believe this. I go, what? She goes, I was just listening to your podcast episode with with Dawn Brolin, and you guys were talking about Mike Michalowicz. I was listening to Mike's book, Profit First, as I was driving to the event last night. I was like, what? She says, yes. So I said, did you tell him that? She goes, yes, I absolutely told him that. So she had this lovely conversation with Mike where, they were connecting and chatting and whatever. And I stopped for a second. I go, you know what all of this means, right? And she's like, what? I go, it means that you should have bought a VIP ticket. This is the universe telling you this is what happens when you buy a VIP ticket. You elevate your experiences everywhere. Okay, so you're hobnobbing with people that you were listening to his book on the way there. So I'm telling you guys this story because it ties in so perfectly with this week's podcast. Because in this week's show, I talk about elevating your brand, elevating your thinking so that you can elevate your brand. I talk about how I think bigger for you than you think for yourself. So I'm not quite sure what the message is for me yet from the universe in all of this. Mike, if you're watching this, because I tagged you in this, I'm out several $100s, multiple hundreds of dollars. And while I wasn't really planning on meeting you last night, I feel like there's a message I haven't figured out yet in this missing Mike Michalowicz on a consistent basis. But Dawn, thank you for introducing me to Mike and his amazingness. Also, interestingly enough, Linda Ugolo, who is also a friend and a client, I did a private session with her recently, and she brought me your most current book, Clockwork. So there's so many synchronicities here that my head is exploding. So while I'm in this emotional roller coaster of family emotions, right? I mean, I'm sad about my uncle. I'm sad, but I'm grateful that I created a life that allowed me to be with my family. I'm also grateful that I've created a life that allows me to play and live in this VIP world and then be able to bring my friends and my clients into that world with me. So you need to listen to this episode 88 of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. Check it out. I hope you love it. I am amazed by the synchronicities of life that came into my world in the last couple of days. The universe steps up every single time and supports us when we are thinking bigger. When I think bigger for you than you can think for yourself. So here I am thinking bigger for Deirdre than she was able to think for herself. She now gets it. She will buy a VIP ticket for the next event she goes to. I want you to do the same, because that you don't know where those opportunities are going to come from. I could talk for on and on and on about this, but I want you to just get how crazy this is when you start to live in that life. So I'm going to keep this short because, as I've said before, I've got, lots of family obligations this week, but I thank everybody that's reached out to me about my uncle. Thank you so much for your kind words. We'll be okay. And he's at peace, and this is where I need to be right now. If you're my client and I've rescheduled you this week, thank you for being, just understanding of that. And, listen to the podcast, think bigger in your life, and build a life that supports you and a life that supports you abundantly in every aspect of your life. KarenYankovich.com/088. I want to hear what you think below. And Mike McCallowitz, if you're watching, we've got to get together, because somehow, I don't know what this is, that we're missing each other all the times, but it's time for us to get together, because I'm a big fan. I follow the Profit First plan in my own business, and Clockwork has been really impactful for me as well. So thank you all so much for listening, and check out episode 88 of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast.